Thank you, Presiding Officer. Can I say that I'm particularly grateful to our committee advisor, Alan Simpson. It has been a great pleasure to take part in this inquiry, and especially to sit with Adam Ingram on that committee during the process, someone who I've considered a mentor and friend for a long number of years, and also today to speak with Colin here on this subject. I can say at the outset that I've found the inquiry fascinating to take part in, not least because of the expertise, the enthusiasm and ingenuity of the engineers and bridge operatives who have worked in the most extreme of weather conditions in the depth of winter to have repaired and resolved the defect that was identified on the Forth Road Bridge in December last year. And by way of context, I hope to quote from Barry Caulfield from his evidence to the committee. He said, "Engineering is not science. It is a mixture of science and art, and it involves judgment. We have the most powerful analytical tools. Consulting engineers analysed the stresses and the members, and the independent checker also carried out an analysis. Those were the best firms in the UK and the world, analysing and checking using the best tools. But it is engineering. And engineering is always about judgment and is not an exact science." And I use that quote because I think it's very important that we understand that decisions about bridge maintenance, decisions about how to go forward, are taken in the context of the immediate information available to engineers, including the financial situation. And I believe that our inquiry, which has been comprehensive and robust, has brought out these details. And I hope that the public will be reassured by the report conclusions. And I agree, as many will, with the unanimous views of the expert witnesses, that this defect was unforeseen and unforeseeable. If we look a little bit back in the history of indicative capital plans over the time of the Forth Road Bridge, if we look back to 2004, when FETA presented their case for an indicative, a statement of case, for the proposed toll increase at that time, they included an indicative capital plan at that time, and it indeed indicated that there may have been work on the Truss End links in 2004 to be completed in 2009-10. I don't believe that work was done. In the Truss End linkages in the indicative plan of 2008, this had moved to a different scale of work on the Truss End links. But again, I don't think that work was carried out, not through any fault or any mismanagement by FETA, but simply because other priorities were identified at that time. Indeed, the minutes of the FETA board at that time says the principal reasons in 2008, the principal reasons for the amendment to the proposed capital plan are as follows. And for truss end linkages, it says truss end linkages, the extent of the work included in this project has increased. By way of showing that this has been as always in the bridge and examining this, a movable and changing environment for all the engineers to work on. And in 2015, in one of the final minutes from the Forth Road Bridge, in their own words, in the background, they say the capital plan is kept under continual review in order to monitor changes to the budget and the level of reserves. As reported previously, key structural risks that have been presented on the Forth Road Bridge for some years were identified as the condition of the main cables and the main cable anchorages. So the main issue for them at that time was not the truss end link, and that is to be borne out by the reprioritisation, which had that as the fifth in their in the list of priorities. It became fifth in the capital indicative plan. In the main report in those minutes, they said that during the latter stages of 2014 and into 2015, the priority with regard to the capital plan has been to ensure completion of committed projects prior to the abolition of the authority, expected to be the 31st of May 2015. In addition, efforts are being directed at preparing a number of specific uncommitted projects to either design or tender stage, to enable the projects to be carried out post-abolition. These projects are considered vital, but projects that FETA cannot commit to completing prior to May 2015. And the detail of the report regards the trust-signed linkages. I think the Minister has already mentioned this, that given the cost and difficulty in replacing these elements and the potential disruption to bridge users, further examination of the probability of certain combinations of load occurring and further structure analysis was carried out to try and determine the most realistic levels. To carry out combination to. Sorry, I've lost my place there, Presiding Officer. The levels of stress of the members. After the Queensferry crossing opens, Forth Road Bridge will carry only light traffic under normal operating conditions. And I think this is a bit of the elephant in the room, Presiding Officer, but at 150,000 tonnes of concrete, 35,000 tonnes of steel and 23,000 miles of cabling, I don't think the Queensferry crossing would fit in the room at all. But that is a £1.3 billion investment in the infrastructure for the Roath Bridge. And the information that we have is that it did have a bearing on the decisions taken by FETA regarding their priorities regarding their capital plan. And it's interesting to note, Presiding Officer, that their solution to their concerns was a saving of £14,590,000 to the public purse had it been successful. And we can all look to hindsight, but what hindsight will tell us in this one is I believe that all the engineers are being congratulated on facing the most difficult situation and finding a solution for the Scottish people.